to talk tonight about a city that I love. It's called Wenghua. It's surrounded by mountains and ocean and forests, and it's our city, Vancouver. So Vancouver is known as the most Asian city outside of Asia, and I'd like to talk about what that means to me and what it could mean to us as a community and as a city. So I'm going to roll back the clock and go back to the man who connected me to Asia in the first place. This is my grandfather, Wang Gonglai. And he left South China at a time of great turmoil when he was only 17 years old. And his whole village actually pooled together all their money and all their resources and bought him one-way ticket to Canada. So he got on this boat with 1,000 other people, the SS Kimun, and it was a hard trip. As soon as it left the port in China, they dumped sulfur all over him and everything he owned to disinfect everything. There was like rice gruel and dried fish and people spitting, and it stunk. And then when he got here to Vancouver, it wasn't relaxation. He actually was met by customs, and they took him to this detainment center called the Pig Pen, where all the Chinese immigrants went, and he was detained for another few weeks. So it was a rough time in Vancouver to be Chinese. The railroad was done. There wasn't a lot of jobs. You could be a logger or a grocer, or as my grandfather decided, you could become a tailor. So this is his shop, Modernized Tailors. It's still here today at Pender and Carroll, and it was right in the middle of the city. Oh, we have fans. I'm very proud of the tailor shop. My grandfather actually, he made suits and fashions for people all over the city. It was a real hub. He made zoot suits, he made drapes, and his clothes walked everywhere, all over the city. But he and his life remained quite confined to Chinatown. There was a lot of prejudice against Chinese at the time. They were known as the Yellow Peril, and they were going to take all the jobs, and it was going to be very terrible. So he really had trouble connecting outside of this one small town of Chinatown of 5,000 people. And that carried on to his two oldest sons, Bill and Jack. They had degrees from UBC, and they were not able to actually enter the workforce. But they proudly became tailors. They carried on the tradition, and my grandfather's family grew and flourished, and they lived very happy lives here. But they had trouble connecting outside of Chinatown. So you fast forward to me, I can connect. My mom is from St. John, New Brunswick. My dad grew up in Vancouver. I speak French and English. I had a really happy childhood as a banana growing up in Kitsilano. And my friends would look at me and they say, I forget you're Chinese. And I say, I forget I'm Chinese too. And that lasted right up until university when I decided I wanted to get more Chinese. And I went to China. And I told the love of my life, I'm just going to go for 6 months and learn to speak Chinese. I'll be right back. And it turns out I love China even more than I love the love of my life. I fell totally in love at first sight, and I stayed for the next 7 years. What was it about this place? It's hard to describe, but there's something completely intoxicating about living in a country of 1.3 billion people. There's so many dreams and so much energy, so much opportunity. I started my own company, I met incredible people, and you might think that China wouldn't accept me. I spoke Chinese kind of funny, I'm only half Chinese. And they said, where are you from? I said, I'm from Canada. They're like, you're Chinese. No, I'm from Canada. You're Chinese. And this went on for years, and finally I gave up and I said, okay, I'm Chinese. I am Chinese and I'm also Canadian, and this is me getting really, really Chinese. So as I moved back and forth between these two places, I noticed there were so many things that linked us together, so many really powerful connections, and they became more and more visible to me, even as they seemed invisible to a lot of the people around me. I asked myself, what does it mean to be the most Asian city outside of Asia? And especially in the context of Asia's rise. So we all know what the government says. We said we are Asia's Pacific gateway. But I think it's more than that. I think there's more soul and there's more heart to it. And I think we're really, we're a portal between two cultures. We're an interface between Canada and China, and we're a very special place. So that's why I brought my company, Flow, back to Vancouver. My passion is connecting Canada and China. I'm Canadian, I'm also Chinese, and we connect the Western world with China. And it's the era of digital media, so we do that through online campaigns. It's been really remarkable. We met some incredible people. One of them you may have heard of, her name is Wan Ting. She is China's #1 singer. She's top of the charts. She has a triple platinum album. But what's very interesting about her is she actually came to Vancouver as a teenager, and she feels that it's this city that allowed her to become an artist and to express her creativity. So she feels very connected to both places. She wants to be the first Chinese artist to win a Grammy, but she also represents Vancouver and feels very attached to this city. She's now our tourism ambassador to China. And she's just one example of the people that link these two places. She is, just one of those invisible links between the two countries made visible. So a lot has changed since my grandfather's time. We don't all fit in Chinatown anymore. And I think if Vancouver wants to reach out to the world, we can start right here by connecting with each other. Now, it's easy to stand on a stage and say, this is what needs to happen, and easy to write a policy paper, but how do we actually make that happen in real life? And I think a huge part of that is the digital era. 1 in 5 people on the internet are Chinese. Staggering numbers, and a lot of new platforms, a lot of technology. There's so many ways to reach out. Right here in Vancouver, our mayor, Gregor Robertson, is actually using Sina Weibo, which is China's version of Twitter, and he has 75,000 fans. And many of those fans are right here in our city, and it's a whole new generation of Chinese reaching out and engaged in civic life for the very first time. So tonight's PechaKucha is about Vancouver around the world, and I'm obviously quite passionate about Asia. We're all passionate about different parts of the world. But if I can leave you with one message tonight, it's if you want to reach out to the world, we can start right here by connecting to each other. Thank you very much.